Meow. We have a new story today. How are you doing anyway? Please join to my live stream. This is the story about a promise. A promise. Oh, we start now. Daniel stood in front of the old wooden house he hadn't visited in 15 years. The windows were broken. Paint had faded. The garden was overgrown with weeds. But none of that mattered. Because hidden somewhere inside was a promise he had made as a little boy, a promise he had completely forgotten. And that forgotten promise was about to change his life forever. Daniel grew up in a small town where everyone knew everyone. His family wasn't rich. In fact, there were days when they barely had enough food for dinner. But Daniel never felt poor. Not because he had money, because he had his grandfather. His grandfather, Ramon, was the kind of man who could fix anything. Broken bicycles, toys, toys, broken chairs, sometimes even broken hearts. Whenever Daniel had problems, he ran straight to his grandfather. Grandpa Ramon always knew exactly what to say. One summer afternoon, when Daniel was only 10 years old, he sat beside his grandfather under a large mango tree. The old man was carving a small wooden box. Daniel watched carefully. "Grandpa," he asked, "what are you making?" His grandfather smiled. "A treasure box." Daniel's eyes widened. "What's the treasure?" The old man laughed. "Not all treasures are gold." When the box was finished, Grandpa Ramon handed it into Daniel. That piece of paper. Inside was a folded piece of paper. "Write something important," his grandfather said. "You never want to forget." "Thing you never want to forget." Daniel thought for a long time, then he wrote a single sentence. He folded the paper and placed it inside. His grandfather locked the box. One day, Grandpa Ramon said, "When life becomes difficult, come back and read it." Daniel promised he would, but life had other plans. As the years passed, Daniel grew older. He left the town. He went to college, started working, moved to the city, built a career, made money, bought a car, bought a condo, achieved everything he once dreamed about. At least that's what everyone thought. The truth was very different. Daniel was lonely, very lonely. His work consumed his life. Relationships came and went. Friendships faded. Phone calls became rare. The things he once loved disappeared one by one. Then came the hardest year of his life. His company downsized. Daniel lost his job. His girlfriend left him. Bills piled up. The future looked uncertain. One evening, while searching through old photographs, Daniel found a picture of himself and Grandpa Ramon sitting under the mango tree. Suddenly, memories came rushing back. Treasure box, the promise, the note. Passed away many years earlier. His grandfather had passed away many years earlier. The old house had been abandoned ever since. But the treasure box might still be there. The next morning, Daniel drove back to his hometown. The journey felt like traveling through time. Every road reminded him of childhood, every corner carried memories. When he arrived at the old house, emotions hit him like a wave. The place looked smaller than he remembered. Yet somehow it felt bigger too. Filled with memories, filled with love, filled with ghosts. After hours of searching through dusty drawers and old cabinets, Daniel finally found it. He found a small wooden box covered in dust, exactly where his grandfather had left it. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside was the folded piece of paper, the paper he had written 25 years earlier. Daniel slowly unfolded it, then he read the words and immediately burst into tears. When I grow up, I don't want to become rich, I want to become happy. That's what the note said. Daniel stared at the sentence again and again and again. It felt as if his 10-year-old self was speaking directly to him. As if a child from the past was asking what happened. Maybe Daniel had forgotten. Where along the way, Daniel had forgotten. He spent years chasing success. Years chasing promotions. Years chasing approval. Years chasing money. But happiness, the thing that mattered most, he had left it behind. Inside the box was another piece of paper, one Daniel had never seen before. It was written in his grandfather's handwriting. It said, Daniel, if you're reading this, life probably didn't go exactly the way you planned. That's okay, life rarely does. Tears rolled down Daniel's face. Remember this, a successful life isn't measured by money. It's measured by moments who laugh with you, who stood beside you, who love you, and who love in return. Daniel could almost hear his grandfather's voice. For a long time, Daniel simply sat there, silent, thinking, remembering. That day changed everything. Daniel didn't suddenly become rich. He didn't magically solve all his problems, but he changed direction. He called old friends, he reconnected with family, he spent more time helping people. And he started doing things that brought him joy. Months later, Daniel found a new job. The highest paying job he'd ever had. Not the highest paying job he'd ever had. But one that allowed him time to actually live. Years passed, little by little, happiness returned. Not because life became perfect, because Daniel finally understood what truly mattered. One day, many years later, Daniel sat beneath the same mango tree. Only this time, his young son sat beside him. The boy looked up and asked, Dad, what's the secret of being happy? Daniel smiled. Then he handed his son a small wooden box. Same box, same treasure, same lesson. And as the afternoon sun shined through the leaves, Daniel realized something beautiful. The greatest treasures are not hidden in banks, not hidden in vaults, not hidden in riches. Sometimes they're hidden inside a simple promise or forgotten note. And the wisdom of someone who would love you enough to leave it behind. We have another next story. This is about the letter that arrived 20 years late. The letter arrived on Wednesday morning. There was no return address. No stamp, no explanation, just one sentence written on the front. Daniel, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. The strange part, the letter was signed by his father, a father who had died 20 years ago. Daniel stared at the envelope. His hands trembled. His father Miguel had died when Daniel was only 8 years old. A construction accident. At least that's what everyone had always told him. There had been a funeral. Yeah, a grave, an ending, or so he thought. For years, Daniel carried a hole in his heart. He grew up watching other children play catch with their fathers. Watching dads attend graduations, watching father walk their daughters down the aisle. Every milestone reminded him of what he had lost. His mother rarely spoke about Miguel. Whenever Daniel asked questions, she would become quiet. Sometimes she would cry. Sometimes her mother would change the subject. Eventually, Daniel stopped asking her. But now, 20 years later, a letter from a dead man sat in his hands. Slowly, he opened it. Inside was a single sheet of yellow paper. Writing. The handwriting was unmistakable. His mother's old photo albums contained birthday cards written by his father. Same handwriting. The same penmanship, the same signature. The letter began, "Dear Daniel, if this letter has reached you, then fate has finally kept its promise." It's hard-pounded right now. You probably have many questions. You deserve answers. The truth is that I did not write this letter expecting to die. Daniel froze. What did it mean? He continued the reading. 20 years ago, I discovered something that frightened me. I learned that the company I worked for was hiding dangerous safety violations. Workers were getting hurt. Corners were being cut. Lives were at risk. Daniel sat down. I reported what I found. The company threatened me. They told me to stay quiet. I refused. The room suddenly felt colder. Three days before the accident, I gave this letter to someone I trusted. I told them to deliver it to you when you became an adult. Daniel read the sentence 3 times. If you're reading this now, then something happened to me. Tears formed in his eyes. His life, he believed his father had simply been unlucky. But what if there was more to the story? The letter continued. Daniel, there is something more important than the truth about my death, much more important. Daniel swallowed hard. I need you to know that none of this way your fault. You were 8 years old.